Welcome back, everyone. Today we're going to be talking about Season 6, Episode 13 of Better Call Saul. I just got done watching it, so let's talk about it. This episode, Saul Gone, is the last episode we will ever see of Jimmy McGill, probably forever. My initial reaction to this episode was quite emotional. I started tearing up a little bit towards the end because I have followed this character since Breaking Bad, and it is a very sentimental character to me, and honestly, one of the best character arcs I've ever seen on a TV show ever. What I really expected from the start of this episode was an action-packed episode of Saul on the run, but we actually got something a lot different. The episode talks a lot about regrets, especially with the character Mike as well as Walter White, and in both cases, Saul asked them if they had a time machine, what they would go to, and Walter White talks about some regrets that he had, one of them being his gray matter technology company that he was forced out of, kind of, while in college. Walter talked about how he regretted letting his friends push him out of this company and how he wouldn't be in the position to be Heisenberg if that didn't happen. Mike also talked about how he would go back to 1984, the day that he took his first bribe, and probably not take it. Once we get back to the present day, Gene, also known as Saul, is escaping and helicopters are going after him. He jumps in a trash can, is about to call the vacuum number, but he drops a bunch of stuff, makes a lot of noise, and is eventually arrested. I was pretty surprised to see Saul get arrested, but when he gets a phone call to call a lawyer, he calls one of the lawyers that he used to work with alongside of in Albuquerque. While at a plea deal with his new lawyer, Bill Oakley, Marie shows up, Hank Schrader's wife. I was a little surprised to see her in the episode, but was happy to see her back in the series. Marie talks about Hank, and Saul plays the victim card, saying that Walter White and Jesse Pinkman basically forced him into doing everything, and I was a little surprised here. I thought Saul was going to try and get less of a prison sentence like the viewer is believed, but I was happy by the end of the episode what really happened. I was very surprised to see Saul only get 7.5 years of prison after everything that he had done. He eventually finds out that Kim spilled everything about Howard Hamlin, and he was probably going to use that, but once he found out that Kim came clean, he wanted her to be there in person with him, so he basically lied to his lawyer and told them that he had extra details, but was honestly just tricking them, and I thought that was such a Slippin' Jimmy reference there, just tricking everyone to think that there was going to be this big court case, something was going to go down, but in reality, he really just wanted Kim there with him. We do get a flashback around the 28-minute mark like I talked about with Walter White and Saul Goodman. I believe this took place when they were living with the vacuum guy before they got their new identities. This is when Walter White talked about his regrets with gray matter, with Elliot, with Gretchen, and how they pushed him out. It was kind of sad to see. It was also very sad to see Bryan Cranston as Walter White's last ever appearance in Better Call Saul or Breaking Bad, but who knows, maybe he'll come back one day, but I really hope he doesn't because the quality in these series are amazing and I don't want to see Walter White anymore, to be honest. I feel like it would just make it a lot less important, these moments, so Walter White should not come back, in my opinion, anymore in any series whatsoever. Just like Saul had planned, when Kim is told that she may be getting mentioned in this trial, she comes down to the court and she sees Jimmy for the first ever time in a long time. I thought this episode could go multiple ways once they got in court. One way I thought was that he would take the 7.5 years and just see Kim. The other thing that I thought was maybe he would give himself up entirely for Kim, but I thought that this wasn't going to happen, even though it actually did. And lastly, I thought maybe he would try and throw her under the bus. But for the last 20 minutes of the episode, we saw the original Jimmy McGill who had gone away for so long. Once he said in the courtroom that he was McGill and not Saul Goodman anymore, I knew that he was going to come clean. Saul admits he knew everything that was going on, was not forced by Jesse and Walter, even though he kind of was at times, but he took accountability for his actions in front of everyone. He also admitted that he kept Walter out of jail and everything that would have happened most likely would not have occurred if it wasn't for him, which honestly is 100% true. If he really wanted to, he could have had Walter and Jesse arrested at any time. After the trial, we do get a quick flashback with Chuck and Jimmy for the last ever time, and Chuck actually seems very interested in his clients, and this was one of the few times that we see Chuck really sympathetic and wanting to see what Jimmy has going on. Chuck is also reading The Time Machine by H.G. Wells, which may have some connection to Jimmy talking about the time machine with Walter White and Mike. I'm just making this video right after watching, so let me know if you saw this and what you think it may mean. One of my favorite parts of this episode was when Jimmy is on the bus with the prisoners and they recognize him as Saul and they begin chanting his name. At first he was like, no, I'm not Saul, I'm Jimmy. But he realized that he had done so much for the little man throughout his career that they really did appreciate, and I think that he really noticed that he made a difference here even though he had done so many bad things. And lastly, after baking bread in the prison kitchen, Jimmy is called to his lawyer, and the lawyer is none other than Kim Wexler. This part was very emotional to me as a Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad fan for all these years, and it was nice to see Jimmy and Kim finally reunite for the last time. Jimmy basically gets life in prison for his crimes, 86 years. The last scene, which was very emotional as well, is when Saul is watching on the basketball court and Kim is just walking out of the prison gates. The episode ends, and there's a thank you from the cast, which I really appreciate as well as a fan for many years. Like I said, I really loved this episode and thought it brought things together in a really great way and a great ending to an amazing series. Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul, one of the best series I've ever watched in my entire life. Let me know what you thought in the comments of Better Call Saul's finale, and I'll see you guys next time in the next video.